Hey everyone, in this lecture we're going to be talking about intervention planning. So one of the things to know, sort of regardless of which type of social work you're going to go into, is the generalist intervention model. And it's sort of what Ward and Mama follow. It's what, you know, just about everyone sort of teaches when they think about social work. But the generalist intervention model is this. First you engage, then you assess, then you intervene, then you evaluate, then you terminate, then you follow up. So you can apply that generalist intervention model to to sort of any kind of work with any kind of client population in just about any context. It's engage, assess, intervene, evaluate, terminate, follow up. And today we're going to be talking about sort of that middle step, which is intervention. And the thing that's kind of nice about the way Ward and Mama do this is they give you a sort of a broad, overview. Okay, sorry about that awkward jump there. It was the screen wasn't capturing quite all of the slides, so I had to stop and adjust it real quick. So, so intervention happens after you've done that engagement and the assessment. You're identifying what it is the client wants to work on. You have a theory that sort of explains, something about the world that incorporates what it is the client wants to work on. And social work is known as a with discipline as opposed to a to discipline. So we work with clients as opposed to transmit information to them. So the client is really the expert, and we're simply a person who's in a sense along for the ride, but we're there to provide support. We're there to help provide input on direction when we're asked to. But clients have an awful lot of self-determination, and they have a lot of power over, sort of what it is they want to do about what it is they want to work on and how they want to work on it. So, first step in an intervention is to specify some goals, and those are usually some sort of general statements about what a client wants to work on. Some people distinguish between goals and objectives, and some people don't. And frankly, there's a lot of I don't know, maybe dispute is too strong a word, but there's a lot of maybe conversation about what should be a goal and what should be an objective. One of the things you see in sort of increasingly in social work today is the use of SMART goals, and SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, realistic, and timely, and the A is achievable, realistic, and timely. Sometimes a goal is sometimes an objective is breaking that goal down into smaller pieces. But clients will usually tell you what it is they want to work on, and they'll at least specify sort of the beginnings of a goal. It may not be something that is measurable or sort of conforms to that SMART acronym perfectly, but clients usually have an idea of what it is they want to work on, and then with our input, we can develop that into something that's a little bit more concrete, actionable, measurable, that kind of thing. So there's really 5 kind of categories of interventions that social workers work on or work with. There's sort of these health interventions that encompass, mental health, physical health, emotional health. A lot of people think of that as sort of clinical social work, micro work. In a sense, all of this is kind of micro to a point. Then there's educational or vocational goals or interventions. There's employment interventions, relationship interventions, and legal or advocacy interventions. So, for example, if you were working with someone who's, being released from prison or something like that, that would fit into kind of the legal category of interventions. Similarly, if you were working, with someone to obtain some kind of benefit, a disability benefit or something like that, that probably would fall into a legal category of things as well. If you were working with a young person on sort of an emotional disturbance, so that they can stay in school. That might fit between categories 1 and 2, but so there isn't, these things aren't as distinct maybe as as they're presented in the list, but there still is sort of this way to to identify them. So as I said, there's kind of this movement towards breaking up goals into objectives, and that's a step-by-step action that a client is going to take to achieve that goal. And so a series of objectives, once they've been met, sort of add up to accomplishing a goal. And this is where we leverage client strengths. We point out their strengths that will help clients accomplish the objectives. So here's a sort of sample, really generic kind of intervention plan or treatment plan. Sometimes you see this called. There would be some description of the area of concern, some statement of what the client hopes to accomplish in both the short and long term. Short being what's happening in the immediate future, long term being what's happening in sort of permanent and kind of sustainable changes. And then tasks include what steps need to be taken, and that's really where your objectives would come into play. Your responsibilities would be who's going to do what, and usually social workers will include responsibilities that they're going to do. And so that might be something like, I'm going to be here, I'm going to answer the phone when the client calls, I'm going to provide support, I'm going to write a letter on her behalf, something like that. The last part of a treatment plan would include probably a time frame. So when is this going to be done? Evaluation, how will we know it's going to be done? And then obstacles, things that might get in the way. And then an accounting of strength. So what is it that the client possesses that will help them solve the issue? So, okay, so that's sort of the generic treatment plan, kind of in a nutshell. Again, I think if you understand where this falls in the generalist intervention model, which is engage, assess, intervene, evaluate, terminate, follow up, that's the thing to know from this particular seminar. All right, thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch.